nation's premier source on health, beauty, and wellness. Detroit Nation with Dr. V. Elaine Arterberry. Lifestyle driven.
Hi, this is Dr. Elaine Arterberry, bringing you the latest in beauty, health, and wellness, and driving the nation to improve their lifestyle. I am so delighted today to have Dr. Eddie Connor. He has garnered prestigious honors for community activism, leadership ability, and has been featured on not only BET, but CBS, Fox News, Steve Harvey Show, and the Tom Joyner Show, as well as the World Network. He's a contributing writer for the Michigan Chronicle and featured in the acclaimed BET documentary, It Takes a Village. I'm happy to have Dr. Connor here. He is here to talk a little bit about his best-selling books, Heal the Heart and Unwrap the Gift in You, as well as talk about how we can all improve our lifestyle. Welcome, Dr. Connor.
Oh, I appreciate it, Dr. Arterberry. So glad to be here on your show. Of course, and you using your platform and your voice as really one of Detroit's divas. I like to say.
Diva. Oh, is that a compliment?
Yeah, absolutely. Divinely inspired, victorious, accomplished sister.
Oh, I love that. I've never heard that before.
So just a little acronym, yeah. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Well, I wanted to talk a lot. You talk about people overcoming obstacles. That's one of sort of the focuses of your work. So tell me about your struggle. Tell me about the one challenge that you had to overcome that our listening audience might want to hear about.
Absolutely. You know, I'm a son of the city. I'm an East Sider rider, as they say.
Oh, wow.
Warren and Connor on the East Side. And so I'm a living witness. Your test is a testimony. Your misery is ministry. Your mess is a message. Your stumbling block is a stepping stone. And what God does, he uses and orchestrates your setback as a setup for your greatest comeback. The reason I can say that is because at the age of 15, I faced my greatest challenge that I had to persevere through. And I was experiencing a number of different chest pains as a sophomore in high school. And long story short, I could not breathe watching a Rose Bowl game at halftime. And
wow.
We go to the doctor, and they do a CT scan of the chest and X-ray, and they find out that there's a mass growing.
This came out of nowhere.
Out of nowhere. And they cut me open. They saw my cells were growing so fast, they could literally see them growing with the naked eye.
Oh, you got to be kidding.
No, yes. Around my trachea, esophagus, voice box, place I'm speaking to you out of now. And so they come back into the hospital and they let me know and said, you have a diagnosis. And I'm like, well, what could this be? They said,
right, at 15. What
15.
You're
right.
really?
Young black male, why me? What was going on? And they say, you have NHL. And I said, NHL, for me, that means
the hockey league, right?
National Hockey League. I'm
right.
getting ready to be youngest owner of a National Hockey League team, and I don't even like the sport.
Right.
He says, no, you have non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Wow.
And I know you're an oncologist, so you know what
I know
that is.
exactly what that means.
Absolutely. And the doctor says, doesn't even give me an opportunity to grasp the notion. He says, you have not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4. Stage 4 cancer.
Wow.
At the age of 15. And I know that as I've gained more information, every second America, 2-3 people are diagnosed with cancer, 1 in every 1,000 teenagers.
Right.
I was that teen.
Right.
I asked, the doctor says, don't even ask why. I'm like, you're my physician.
That's
not
your
my
first question. Why
psychologist."
me?
Right. So growing up in a single-parent divorce household, my own biological father never even visited me one day in the hospital.
Oh, my goodness.
People will be with you on the mountaintop of success, but they scatter in your valley of struggle. Mm-hmm. So to have to not just go through, but grow through that chemotherapy, radiation, 5 days a week.
At that age.
Yes.
When everybody else is out playing football and, riding their bikes, you're going through this. This is unbelievable.
Going through it. And chemotherapy and radiation, as I was saying, they don't have any camera. I mean, they can't watch us in here, but you see my hair today. I lost all my hair. Not just that, but also my self-confidence and self-esteem. But when it got to the place that I had to look at cancer and change my perception and perspective, the first 3 letters in cancer is can. You can overcome, you can survive. God's word in Psalm 118:17 says, you shall not die, but live and declare the works of the Lord. Mm-hmm. And so I'm blessed to be a blessing.
Oh, you're blessed to be here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Given what happened to you at that age.
Yes, indeed. I'm healed, and it's a great opportunity to share my testimony.
One of the things you talk about is overcoming obstacles. Yeah. And do you think people can be successful without struggle? Can you really get to the top if you've never been to the bottom?
I really don't. Some people are born with a silver spoon in their mouth. A lot of people are born into life sometimes with a bed of roses, but oftentimes those roses have thorns attached to them. And so things are not given to us. And generally, whatever is given is generally taken away. Mm-hmm. But what is worked for is what's sustained. And when you get to the place of success, and really when you become significant, it's through the panoramic lens and the stage and the road, the terrains of struggle. Right. Because the struggle causes you to birth the strength that's on the inside. You have power that you haven't even used yet.
Right.
But oftentimes the struggle magnifies the strength that you didn't realize and recognize that you had, because the situation hadn't set it up to where it now placed a magnifying glass on, this is what I have. My back is against the wall. My life seems to be going down the drain, and I have to live through dying places.
One of the things I like that you tweeted yesterday was the plan for your life is greater than the pain. What does that mean?
Absolutely. The plan for your life is greater than the pain that you've experienced in life. And a lot of times we go negative on the negative rather than being positive in the negative situation, because life takes you almost to the edge of your mind, not to lose it, but to change it. Because when you change your mind in the situation, it causes you to transform the perplexing situation that you are facing. And so oftentimes we become cynical, we become reticent to move into the power of our purpose because of the pain that we have gone through, because somebody said we'd never overcome or be this or that and the other. But when you realize your purpose, there's an African proverb that says the two most important dates in your life are, number one, the day that you were born. I know we get happy about that.
Yeah, I love that.
We celebrate our birthday like it was a national holiday.
Right, exactly.
Some of us celebrate all month.
Better than MLK Day.
Right. But it's not so much the day that you were born, but it's secondly the day you realize why you were born. Because the why symbolizes the purpose and the plan that you have for your life that's God ordained. We're all pregnant with purpose, promise, possibility, and potential. Right. We have to give birth to it.
I want to talk a little bit about your book, Unwrap the Gift in You, which sort of addresses this. It talks about helping people find their gift. I mean, people go through life, they go to work, they come home, they raise their kids, and never know why they're here. And to me, it leaves a little bit of an emptiness on the inside. So what does the book talk about?
Yes, I wrote this Unwrap the Gift in You as a place to be able to shed the light. Everybody's a red box and a gold bowl, a gift to the world. Scripture says, with Paul, he says, stir up the gift. Proverbs says your gift will make room for you and bring you before great men. But one of the greatest painters of all time, Pablo Picasso, says the meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give your gift away. So
that's beautiful. Is that your quote? I was going to ask you your favorite quote. Is that it? It's mine right now.
That's one of mine.
Right now. Say it again. I guess it.
Pablo Picasso says the meaning of life is to find your gift. The purpose of life is to give your gift away. Because your gift is not for you. It's to bless somebody through what you've been through. And that comes through the struggle that you persevere through. We all have a gift. We have to unwrap it. Sometimes we have to go into the negative and past that and dig deep into the resources and the recesses of our soul to pull out what has already been in us that we didn't recognize. And when we use it, when we stir it up, when we put our blood, sweat, and tears and hustle into it, and we strive in spite of what's going on, that's how we can give birth to that gift and bless the world with it.
We'll be right back with Dr. Eddie Connor. We're going to switch gears now and talk about our drivers of change.
Detroit Nation with Dr. V. Elaine Arterberry, driving the nation to health, beauty, and wellness.
Drivers of Change, showcasing to the world the innovators from Detroit, Michigan, and the nation that are shaping the country. Our driver of change today is First Lady Michelle Obama. She's a huge Let's Move advocate. And with the help of Michelle Obama and her husband, President Obama, they signed a Hunger-Free Kids Act of 2010. And this will increase the access to kids to good quality meals in the school so the nutritional needs of our youngsters are met. They have both advocated strongly for passing of this bill, and it really allows more aggressive food and nutrition in the schools, and really is the response to obesity and hunger challenge in America's kids. This will allow America's kids to grow healthy, be healthy adults, and more kids will have access to balanced school lunches by increasing the number of students that are able to enroll in these school meal programs. And for that, they are today's driver of change. I'm back with Dr. Eddie Connor. Dr. Eddie Connor is an activist. He's a community leader. He's written 5 best-selling books, and he is here today to talk about his other book, Heal Your Heart, which is really about the women.
Yeah,
right?
it is.
Why are the women the only ones who get broken hearts? Don't men get a broken heart?
We do, and I write about that as well in there. But one of the reasons I wrote Heal Your Heart, and just a semi-plug, I'm going to be talking more about Heal Your Heart at the Women's Expo, Empowerment Expo.
Oh, that's coming up in August,
yes,
right?
Yes, it's coming up next Saturday, the 15th. I'll be doing a seminar called No Drama, and I'll be there with Jan Levan Zant. She's going to help to fix your life.
Okay.
And as well
in one
as,
weekend, right?
Right. And then also Wendy Williams. So, but Heal Your Heart is really about sometimes the brokenness that we experience in relationships. And really, relationships are not monolithic. It's not just one specific stone. You need love, but what is love if you don't know how to receive it or even express it?
Right.
What is communication if you don't know how to listen, but also be, receptive enough to hear what is being said and then communicate in that way? And so I wrote it as an ode to women to help them to realize their value, their gift, their purpose, loving themselves, knowing their worth, and seeing their value. And so I watched a single parent mother, my mother, Dr. Janice Connor, have to heal her heart and how to overcome her obstacles. What is healing if you've never been hurt? What is breakthrough if you've never been broken?
Right.
And so I write from those places of negativity and things that I've had to overcome. I've got a poem in there called Queen, and I define it as quintessential.
You wrote the poem?
I wrote the poem.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, every word,
I
every
didn't
letter.
put poet in your bio. Okay, I'm going to add that.
Yes. I wrote Queen because I define it as quintessentially unique, empowering everyone naturally. And I share that women have a queen that's on the inside of them, and they have to give birth to that. I got another chapter in there, cancel my subscription, I'm through with your issues. The fact of the matter is, life is simple math. If the people in your life aren't adding to it, you got to do some simple math and subtract them from your life. Mm-hmm. Because they're going to either add to your purpose, multiply it, or they're going to divide you from your destiny and put you on a detour to destruction. And so sometimes it's not your time to date. Sometimes it's your time to wait. But it's not necessarily waiting.
That's hard to tell women. They don't want to hear it's not your time to date.
Yeah,
they don't want to hear it.
Yeah. But you know what? It's not waiting as a person sitting at a bus stop. It's waiting as a waiter or waitress because you're working on yourself.
And serving.
And that's when the right individual, the right man will find he that findeth a wife.
Right. Findeth a good thing.
That's right.
Tell me about your Boys to Book mentorship program. How does that work? How can people get involved in that? That seemed really fascinating to me.
Absolutely. And, I think Boys to Books that I've birthed is really near and dear to my heart, especially today marks the 1-year anniversary, the 1-year shooting death of Michael Brown in Ferguson, Missouri, mm-hmm. at the hands of Darren Wilson. Mm-hmm. And, in 1 year, especially just even last month, there was 6 black women outside of Sandra Bland who were killed in police custody in jail. Mm-hmm. And so in 1 year's time, we've gone from hands up, don't shoot to comply or die.
Right.
And so one thing that I'm specifically empowering my young men with in the Boys to Books program is literacy, leadership, life skill development, but also them knowing what is going on in their world, being receptive, being cognizant, being aware of the racism and the brutality that is going on at the hands of many people who are sworn to protect and to serve. Because we're in a war zone, we're in a battle zone. And yes, we know there's also black on black crime. And black lives have to matter to black people too. And so with this program I birthed, it's an after-school program. It's been housed at University High School in Ferndale, many other schools around the Detroit metro area, to cause young men to recognize that there's a king on the inside of them and to pursue education, self-development. Yes, it's very important and keen. And so I worked with Hanson Clark on a resolution. I was working with him in Congress, and we developed a resolution, HR 721. It's all over the internet. You can check it out. President Obama used this resolution based on Boys to Books as an impetus to develop the My Brother's Keeper initiative, mm-hmm. to provide black and Hispanic males with opportunity. They're building prisons based on 2nd and 3rd grade reading scores, based on the new Jim Crow, and based on what Dr. Jawanza Kunjufu talked about in the book Conspiracy to Destroy Black Boys. we have to push our young men not to prison but to Princeton, not to do 4 years in jail but to do 4 years at Cornell and Yale.
My mother's in the studio today, and she's a librarian, and she reads everything.
Yeah.
And I strongly believe that it's this education, it's this reading, it's this enlightenment, it's spending that time alone reading that helps develop people's minds and helps them deal with the pressures of today's culture.
Absolutely.
You have to know what's going on, not just in your world, but in everybody's world.
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic.
Absolutely. And so
You did a documentary.
Yeah,
It takes a village to raise Detroit. Is that true? Are you inspired by all the things happening in the city? That's what Detroit Nation's about. We're about bringing health, wellness, community wellness, and I consider you an advocate for community wellness and health, beauty, and wellness to Detroit. Tell me about that documentary.
Whoa, it was
BET,
yeah,
really?
BET, yeah,
oh wow,
right, Black Star
that's
Power.
That's kind of fancy.
It was really keen and significant, and really the Boys to Books program was highlighted as to what we're doing to change the paradigm and really show the positive spotlight
And change the conversation.
Yeah,
Can we please change the conversation?
Absolutely, to let our place the light and let our young men know that they're not liabilities but they're assets to their communities and will be to their universities. And so to be able to talk about the things that need to take place in our city, the opportunity that needs to be provided not just in Midtown and downtown, but also in the neighborhoods.
Oh, yeah.
Because those are often being overlooked as well. And to provide our people with resources and opportunity, but also to establish not just the civil rights, but silver rights and financial empowerment, economic sustainability that must go on in our community. You know, we have a $1.3 trillion buying power that comes through our hands.
Right.
We would be the 16th richest nation in the world if we pulled all of our resources
Even
together.
a part of it together.
Yes,
exactly.
Absolutely. So rather than just buying Mercedes-Benz and red bottom heels and being G'd up from the feet up, hair whip, dip, fried, dye, laid to the side.
G'd up?
We have to begin to pull our resources together and use that to not just spend and be consumers, but to be investors. Right. And we got to invest in ourselves.
And we talked about this a little bit before the show. This emphasis on materialism in our society and all societies. How do you think that is hurting or helping people? Is it driving them to achieve more, or is it making them status conscious but not conscious of their lifestyles? What do you think's happening? Why are people so obsessed with materialism and I'll say luxury goods?
Well, you know, one thing is that we've been programmed by the media. We've been programmed based on placing our emphasis on what we have rather than who we are. And a lot of times people feel like they're second-class citizens if they can't afford a certain bag or a car or whatever.
Or maybe a shoe.
A shoe, right? But the real purpose that you have is based on what you can't see. And if you were to be stripped of all the money, the cars, who would you be? And a lot of people get lost when they lose things. And so
they lose who they are.
Right, they lose who they are. And so the immaterial self, that which you can't see, the character, the sustainability, the integrity, the intellectuality that you have is really the greatness that is within you and not just based on what you possess.
But how do you get people to buy into that and not fall into the trappings of luxury? How do you get them to change?
Well, you know, I think it's a mind shift that has to take place. It's one thing for you to have things, another thing for things to have you.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. And so when you become controlled by what you possess, you never then begin to step into the reality of who you are because you're defining yourself based on what you have. So when you don't have it, you lose sense of who you are. Mm-hmm. And so when success is not just based on putting a line over the S or a line over the C to where it's dollars and cents, but it's really you recognizing that you have direction and common sense that is on the inside of you. You know, if I had $100 bill and I gave you a $100 bill and I said, I'm going to give you this crisp $100 bill, but first I'm going to ball it up. Would you still want it?
Yeah.
You're right. If I was going
I don't know about you, but yeah. It's still
if
good.
I threw it on Victor Road and I let a car run over it, would you still want it?
Yeah, I'd still want it.
Okay, if I tore it in half and then I pieced it back together, would you still want it?
If I could find some tape, I'd still want it.
There you go. See, the fact of the matter is, if a $100 bill, it's even though it's been kicked, even though it's been stepped on, even though it's been ran through the mud, the snow, the rain, if it still maintains its value, what do you say about a human being that is priceless? We've been knocked down. We've been knocked out. We've been hurt. We've been broken. We've been bruised sometimes. But we still have our value because it's not contained in what we have. It's contained in who we are. If a $100 bill can maintain its value, you better believe that a human being, through the adversity that has gone through, it's exercised greater strength and value. My value grows because of what I've been through, not because of what has happened to me.
That's wonderful. It's at this point in the show that we call it our lifestyle-driven moment. And this is what I'm going to ask you, although you've said so many pearls of wisdom, I'm going to pull out one more. What is the one thing that you want our listening audience to know that will help them improve their lifestyle, their self-worth? What is the one thing, and maybe it's something you do every day, that will help people that are listening today?
One thing you have to recognize is nothing that is here in the earth is here just for naught or for no reason. You were born because you have a purpose. You have a gift. You have a destiny. You have something to contribute. I heard T.D. Jakes say it's not so much about you getting to the destination. It's what you're willing to let go of to get there. And a lot of times we have to let go of the negative. We have to let go of what has happened to us. We have to not be defined by what we've gone through. We have to be refined by it. We've gone through the fire, but we're coming out as pure gold. So recognize your purpose. Recognize that you have a gift. You have something to contribute. Go back to the drawing board. Analyze that goal. Analyze what is it that gives you that sense of purpose, that gives you that freedom that's on the inside of you. Free yourself from the vestiges of your past. Accept God's forgiveness. Forgive those who have hurt you, because you can't forgive. You can't live till you forgive. And then you also have to forgive yourself for allowing it to happen. Freedom is in forgiveness. Once you free yourself, I'm not bitter because of it. I'm better as a result of it.
I think that's wonderful. One of the things you talk about a lot is icons, how we put people on pedestals, and particularly celebrities, and many of us do that, and certainly the kids certainly do it. What do you think it means to be an icon?
I think a person who is an icon says that I can. And, we're in the studio. I see the engineer and the producers and everybody, and your beautiful mother who's here. We're all African American. And, the last four letters in African and the last four letters American spells I can. Who told us what we can't do, what we can't be, what we can't overcome, what we can't become? There's a king and a queen on the end. There's a queen inside of you. There's a king inside of you. You come from kings and you come from queens. Martin, Medgar, Malcolm, Mandela, Dorothy Height, Rosa Parks. We stand on the shoulders of giants. And when we recognize that we can, that's when we become the icons. It's not Jeezy, Weezy, Yeezy, and Jay-Z.
Oops.
It ain't Beyonce. It ain't Rihanna.
Are you sure?
It's not. When you really get down to the grain of it, it's not just the celebrities, but those who are in our communities. We have to celebrate them because they've overcome obstacles.
Totally agree. We're celebrating people we don't even know.
Right.
Instead of celebrating the person down the street.
Absolutely.
Who might have been an inspiration to someone or might have motivated someone to do differently.
Those are real icons.
Tell me what you want people to know that will help them turn their lives around. What has your experience done for people that you think they can take a piece of it and run with it?
I'm just I'm a servant. I'm a servant leader, so to speak. And that is, Dr. Cornel West says, you can't save people if you won't serve them. You can't lead them if you don't love them. And so you recognizing and loving yourself and seeing your value and knowing your worth is very unique and significant. I'm a person who, I was at death's door at the age of 17. My own guidance counselor, keywords, guidance counselor, told me that I'd never go to college. I'd never go to community college. She told me just pick up a trade. These are serious words, real words.
I mean, people say this to people.
Yeah.
It can ruin their lives.
Right. And, a place where it could have ruined me, I use it as a route to get to my next destination. Say, I'm not going to go negative on the negative. If people are throwing stones at you, catch it and build something great. So from a person who was told I'd never go to college to now being a professor at a college. Person who was told I'd never go to college but graduating college 3 times and getting a PhD, but for her it stood for a player-hater degree. Using the negative positively. And if they tell you you can't do it, you got to recognize that I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. Pick yourself up, dust yourself off, keep going.
You tweeted a comment a couple of weeks ago about, and I'm kind of going back to the women thing because I'm still interested in this. You tweeted a comment a couple of weeks ago about no nation can rise higher than its women.
Yeah.
What did you mean by that?
Well, I can't take onus to it. I've heard it used a number of different times. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, and that is The reason a nation can't rise higher than its women, because you think about women are, in many cases, the backbone in our community, especially in our community, especially in the African American community. And so from there proceeds the value that's what is taught and what is gained. And the womb is so significant because it's a place of nurturing, it's a place of developing. And when a person is nurtured and developed and given the love that is first bonded, who do they first, once the baby comes out, who do they give it to? They give it to
mommy.
Right. They give it to the woman. And so men, you know, what did James Brown said? He said,
now we're quoting James Brown. We went from Cornell West.
Right. I'm influenced. I'm especially a musicologist. He says that it's a man's world, but it ain't nothing without a woman or a girl. So women are the foundation, the cradle that rocks the world. And so as we uplift our women, as we empower them, as we strengthen them, as we sustain them and defend them, especially because they're not just attacking black men anymore, they're attacking black women. So when we put our lives on the line to defend them and get off the sideline, get on the front line, that's when we can begin to raise ourselves as a nation.
What do you think is happening with the black family? I mean, we've heard so many people write and talk and tweet about the destruction of the black family. What do you think is happening right now? Is the black family coming together, or is the black family continuing to have difficulty?
Well, you know, on the east side where I stay at, it's reported that 95% of those homes are single-parent mother-led. And so it says, where are the men? You know, a lot of times I think there's about 2.5 million black males locked and incarcerated in prison. And so now it's the great divide between the male-female ratio. Mm-hmm. Women are going to college and men are seemingly oftentimes going to prison based on oftentimes non-violent offenses. Mm-hmm. And so there's an attack on the family. There's definitely a greater attack on the black family. You know, the Bible says the house divided against itself cannot stand. So rather than unification, seemingly division. And how can there be rearing of our young people, our males and our females, if there is not the proper male influence that is there?
People talk about that all the time. If you don't have the daddy in the home, then you need to have to look for a male influence.
Yeah,
it could be a coach, it could be a teacher, but how do you get people to step up and be that role? Because it doesn't need to be a full-time role sometimes. Right. It's sort of like you talk about the Boys to Book. Mm-hmm. These mentoring programs, you hear people speak when they get older and they talk about this stuff, a coach, uncle. It doesn't always have to be daddy.
No, it doesn't. No, it doesn't.
And it may not be daddy.
That's right. It may not be. A surrogate, a mentor, somebody to step up. And so that's why I took an onus and a responsibility to do what I didn't get, to birth what was not necessarily placed inside of my life. And it's really a call to action for our community. It's really a call to action. We will win if we don't quit. We will win if we get united.
Absolutely.
Rather than divided. So, you know, we just have to get on the front lines and say, you know what, I'm going to dedicate some time to an organization. I'm going to mentor the young man that's seemingly wayward on my block.
Right, exactly.
If you just take a block, if you just take a couple of houses, if you just take a specific sector and begin to step up. A lot of times, you know, our young people are crying out through the negative because I want some attention.
Right, it's attention-getting behavior.
Attention-getting behavior.
Absolutely.
Do you recognize me? Do you see my value? Will you speak into my life?
Well, I always think that's sort of why people are so possessed with the material goods. Mm-hmm. It's because I want to be noticed. Absolutely. I want to be recognized. I want to feel important. Mm-hmm. All the things that adornment potentially. But it's not. It's filling an empty hole, and it's an empty vat. Sometimes it's never enough.
Right.
I am so delighted. What a fabulous interview, Dr. Connor. You are such a motivational person, and I wish you could be here in the audience and see what a light, what a halo is around this man's head. Thank you for joining us today.
I want to let them know how they can get in contact me if I could do that.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, the revolution will not be televised. It'll be digitized.
Okay, now you're quoting him. My dad used to quote him.
It won't be televised. It'll be digitized. I remixed it. And that is, go to my website. It's EddieConnor.com, EddieConnor.com. Today I will be preaching at Jameson Temple, 11 a.m., 12530 off Mack and Connor, 12530. Meet me. Don't just meet me there. Beat me there. Bring somebody with you. I'll be speaking at the Women's Empowerment event. I'll be at Texas A&M next Thursday. If you know somebody who's going to be in Texas Commerce, let them know. Get me over to your church, your school, 313-469-1947. Again, EddieConnor.com. I really appreciate you, Dr.
I thank you for being here today.
Much.
This is Detroit Nation. We are lifestyle driven, committed to driving you to the best in beauty, health, and wellness. Follow us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at 313 Nation Radio. We will see you next week. Thank you for tuning in. And as always, achieve your personal best, then beat it.
Detroit Nation with Dr. V. Elaine Arterberry. Driving the nation to health, beauty, and wellness. Lifestyle driven.